Hi, everyone. This is Angela, and you're listening to Homeschool Unrefined, the podcast where we keep homeschool simple, real, and fun.
And this is Maren. You've got episode 104, where we Marie Kondo our homeschool. We're going to talk about that in a few minutes, but first, we just want to stop and say hello to all of our listeners. Thank you so much for the people who keep coming back every week. We just really treasure your support. And if you're a new listener, welcome. We're so glad you're here. And also, we just want to give a shout out to our new Patreon supporters, Suzanne and Heather. Thank you so much for joining us on Patreon, supporting us financially there. I hope you get a lot of great content. We continue to add more things to Patreon all the time. So we're really enjoying those more a little bit deeper conversations and a little bit more community in Patreon, which we just really want to contribute to in the homeschool community.
Right. So if you are interested in joining us there, you can go to patreon.com/homeschoolunrefined.
Let's just talk a little bit about our podcast, Angela.
Sure.
So we really had this vision to talk about things that a lot of people weren't talking about in homeschool. And so that's why we started this podcast. We want to change the conversation about homeschool from maybe like what we do, what we need to do, what we need to do more of. And we want to change that to more of maybe what we don't need to do. Maybe what we can take off your plate for you to help you feel like you are really having an effective homeschool and a joyful homeschool.
Right. Yeah. Homeschooling can be so fraught with comparison and worry and doubt. And, I suffer from those things too. But
Yes.
Especially when I was a newer homeschooler, it was really easy to compare myself to other people because, this is a new thing for everybody who's doing it. Chances are you probably weren't homeschooled yourself or you don't know that many homeschoolers. And so when it's new, you tend to be, just like doing what other people do, or you're comparing yourself. And so we wanted to give you the freedom to be who you are and to enjoy the way that you do things in your homeschool.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And everybody really benefits from that when we find ourselves in homeschool.
Yeah.
Yep.
So before we get started on our main topic, we're in Minnesota. And so
Yep.
we have to talk about the weather.
You know, we're talking about the weather.
We just have to.
It's obligatory. We have to do it. It's the most important thing in our lives right now.
It's the
So,
big
hang
thing.
tight.
It's the big thing that's happening. So,
It is.
yeah. So it was cold.
We hit some record cold this week.
Yeah.
Record wind chill.
Yeah.
Of what was it? 60 below?
I don't know, something like
it
that.
got down to 60 below or close to it anyway. Yeah, it was frigid. I mean, beyond frigid.
Yeah, I've never lived through anything like that, to my knowledge.
Well, actually, you have.
Oh,
Yep. In college, when we were sophomores, it did get down to 60 below. They called off school when we were sophomores in college for the first time at our college in
is that because we were up north farther?
decades. I'm sure.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
We were
We were even farther north.
even farther north.
We were in Fargo Moorhead. That it gets cold there.
And it gets windy.
And it's flat.
It's
Completely flat with no trees.
flat and no trees. So, I mean, it is the prairie. So, I mean, the wind chill was terrible. So,
Okay. All right.
we have lived through it, but we were single college students living in a dorm. It was like a party for 3 days,
I do not remember that. I mean, I remember it being cold. So cold there. I had the biggest jacket. It was this red, puffy, huge jacket. I bought it I don't know what I was thinking. I bought it 2 sizes too big.
Well, that used to be cool.
Was it? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Puffer jackets have really slimmed down.
Okay.
Okay. I think the technology.
Thanks for making me
itself
feel
has,
better.
Changed a
I
lot
got a
since
men's
then.
size large at the Gap. I remember buying it. What was I
yeah.
thinking?
2 sizes up was kind of the thing to do back then. So.
Okay.
No, but I remember the snow was above our heads. My head. Okay, I'm short. I'm 5'2", so it was above my head.
Wow.
That's how much snow we had that year too. So
okay,
yeah.
I do remember that because I'm picturing where I lived, and I remember this dorm where I lived, and just being so cold.
Yeah, and do you remember walking down the side, like, you know, the sidewalks of the college, and like there's just a wall of snow. I remember that, just walls of snow. Like I couldn't see over the walls.
Really?
To see like even where I was going.
Remember that?
Yeah.
Gosh, I have a bad memory. Okay,
so crazy.
But anyway,
life in Minnesota.
I don't know. I feel like because this lasted like 4 days, it was the length of time, and I don't know. Now that I'm a parent, like, and I realize that my kids need to get outside.
Oh yeah.
I was not worried about that when I was 20.
Nope.
Did not think about going outside.
Nope.
So that was challenging, you know, and I'm an Enneagram 6. And so when I heard the news that like you can't go outside for more than 5 minutes or you might get frostbite.
You took that seriously.
I did. And I went and told everybody in their beds at like 9:30. I was like, do not go outside tomorrow. Do not. You can't.
Yep.
This
like,
is
don't
serious.
wake up early and like go play with the
That's
dog
what
or
I thought they
outside.
would do.
Yep. Yeah.
Because they actually did that the day before. They get up. They get up early and go outside and play. So
yeah.
So I took that real seriously.
Yeah.
So it was actually, though, I have to admit, I kind of like it. Kind of liked this.
Yeah. It's very cozy. I mean, it's like a required like family time.
Yeah, you're required to sit inside and like read and do puzzles. I was like, all right.
Can't complain.
Guess I have to. And I don't know, but
guess I have to cancel all my plans.
Yeah. And I don't know about you, but like I get excited with school closings even though my kids don't go to school.
Me too. Oh, me too.
I'm like looking for, I mean, I watch for all the towns around us. Who's closed?
Just scroll across the bottom.
Oh,
of the
yeah.
screen.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, and you know, we don't always do snow days along with the schools because, you know, my thinking on that is we don't have intense days anyway, so like we have to do something, you guys.
Yeah.
But this time we did. We just, because I always feel like now that we've been homeschooling longer, I just think they're learning a lot. No matter what they're doing, any experience we have together, there's learning that's happening. So I'm just going to trust that that's good for that day.
So how many days did you take off officially?
Well,
4?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Good.
Including today. You know, today is a slightly warmer day, but we're, you know, we went jumping today. So
yeah, I didn't think about that. I still did school, and then, but 2 of the days I took off.
Oh,
and the kids were so excited.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, so.
So great. All right. So anyway, this actually really goes along with our main topic today, where we Marie Kondo our homeschool.
I know. I'm kind of excited about this.
Yeah. So the story behind this topic is that we really wanted to talk. We want to have a series. It's the beginning of a new year, almost. February now, but still, we wanted to talk about 3 of the most important things that we really feel define homeschool unrefined, and they are we want to do less, doing less. The second one is be yourself. The third one is think differently about homeschooling.
Yep.
And so this first one is really going to be about doing less.
Yeah. So our title, our working title for this episode was, what was it? What's the series called?
Who we are.
Who we are. This is how these things go. You know, it's who we are.
Yeah.
That's the title of our series. So it's going to be who we are, do less, right?
Yeah.
Because we want,
which is the whole time we had that title, I was like, it's not super catchy, but what else could it be? I don't know. I couldn't think of anything.
I know. So then we thought of where we Marie Kondo our homeschool, which is basically what we're doing.
That, which was so great.
Which is basically what we're doing. But really, this is part of our series, the Who We Are series. It's the first episode. So, you know, the next 2 might not have great catchy titles. We'll see.
Don't get your hopes up, but we love this one so much.
Yeah. So, Maren, did you read the Marie Kondo book, or have you watched the show?
I never read it.
You never read it?
I've watched the show.
Okay. Yeah, I read the book, I don't know, a couple years ago when it came out, and I saw the first half of the first episode.
Okay.
of the show.
So we're well versed in this,
We know
obviously.
lots about her.
But I've heard about it so much too. So I feel like I know it so well.
Yeah.
But so what Marie Kondo really does is she gathers everything in a certain
In your house.
category,
In your house.
books,
Yep.
let's say, and puts them all in a pile, and then you take one out and you ask yourself, does this spark joy for me?
Yep. And if not,
And if it's a yes, great, keep it. Yeah. If it's not, no.
get rid of it. Right.
And I like how she says, thank the book for the time you had with it and what it gave you, or how it served you.
Yeah.
And that gives it value, I think, which is great. But it's good to not have it around if it's not sparking joy.
Right. It might have been useful to you at a time.
Yes.
And you can be thankful
Yes.
for that, but it might not serve you anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, for homeschool, we can't always do that literally.
Yeah.
I mean, we can put all of our curriculum onto a table and do that, right? But
Yeah.
we can't literally do that with our philosophies or,
Yep.
what we've said yes to,
Right.
for as far as, on our calendar or whatever. So, I guess we could make lists of those things.
Yeah.
That's one way to do it, I suppose.
Yeah. But we're just going to be talking through them kind of.
We're going to talk it through.
Yeah. So first of all, should we start with why we think it's important to do this? Why do we think it's important to
Let's
do
do it.
less?
Yeah, so I think, and this actually came from a discussion we had in our Facebook group, Unrefined Homeschoolers, and I think one of the main reasons for me is stamina.
Mm.
When I think about doing this for a long time,
Mm-hmm.
this homeschooling thing, I cannot have all the things that don't spark joy for me.
Yeah. Yep.
Included with all the things I really love, because it's just too much for me to handle. I cannot do it all.
Yes.
And I can do that for times. I can do a lot for a short period of time. I cannot continuously do all the things that everybody thinks is good all the time.
Right. Yeah. I'm in this for the long haul.
Yes.
Hopefully.
Yes.
And if I'm going to do this for the long haul, it has to be sustainable.
Exactly.
And I don't have enough time, energy, and neither do my kids to be doing all the things all the time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a marathon, not a sprint,
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I mean, that's my main reason, I would say.
Yeah.
How about you?
That was my main reason too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See?
Well, all my reasons are kind of similar and a little bit different. But yes, that was it. I can't be effective at
Right.
everything. And
Exactly.
I want to be doing the things that are joyful for me.
Yes.
And so I'd rather do those things. And so if some have to be cut out, I mean, it makes
Yes.
sense for me to outsource or not do the things that aren't joyful for me.
Right. And I think the things that spark joy, it still can be stressful to do those things. It's not easy to, go skiing if you really love to go skiing. That is a job. That takes a lot of work, right?
Yeah.
But if it sparks joy, it's all worth it.
Right.
If it's something you love to do, it's all worth it. And then that just trickles down into every person in the family too. Like if you're feeling joy in this work that you're doing, they're going to feel just the weight of that stress release from them too.
Right.
From our kids will feel that.
Right.
And it's just going to be a happier, more joyful family situation.
Right. Right. Okay, I also feel like it's important that we do less because when I look around my house and I see clutter, like visual clutter, that feels like a weight to me. It's the same with homeschooling. If I have too many things on my schedule or in my mind that I feel like I have to do, or too many too much physical curriculum, or even too many books. Sometimes I know that is a weight for me. And so I feel that weight every day. I feel like, I really should be doing this. I say should a lot.
Yep.
And that's not good.
Don't you feel like should is an indication that maybe there's something you need to take off your plate.
Yeah.
If you keep saying should.
Yeah.
I mean, I do that too.
Yeah, for sure.
It should be a little bit of a red flag.
Right. Yeah.
Time to reconsider some things.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I also feel like when we're doing too much, which we do get into that, you know, it's just like collecting clutter. It just happens sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
You add one more thing and one more thing. Pretty soon it's too much. I feel, and you've heard this, this is a pattern for me. You know this about me if you've listened to this podcast for a long time, but I feel resentful when I'm doing too much.
Yeah.
I start resenting people, and that's really kind of my fault because I've taken on too much probably.
Yeah.
And then also when I'm asking my kids to do so much stuff, then they feel resentful.
Yeah.
So I want to like take away that, you know, that opportunity for us to get into that place.
Right.
I don't want that.
Right. Yeah, that is so good. Yeah. You want this to be it's okay. It's not always going to be, it's so idealistic to think it's always going to be joyful. It's not always going to be,
Yes.
but you want on the whole for this to be a good experience for everybody, you and your kids included. And where there's resentment, joy in your homeschool can't happen.
Yeah. No sparking joy there.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Does not get sparked.
Yeah.
And also, I think when you have less on your plate, we've taken off the things that don't spark joy, then appropriate learning happens at the appropriate time. And that's so different for every kid. And you never know what the right thing is to teach unless you have space for them.
Yeah. So you're talking about like more natural types of learning can happen.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
And, you know, there might be some I think it's fine to have some things they have to do.
Yeah.
A few things. But then, like, where does their personality come into it? And, you know, how do you learn from them what they need? Unless you have that time.
Right, right. And it's just a chance for them to, if they have a little bit of free time in their head, to be thinking about, like, what am I interested in?
Right.
What do I want to do right now? And if everybody's schedules are packed full with things, there's no room for that to happen.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
So, great. I love that we talk about this because although we might all believe this, when we don't talk about it for a while with people, then we're like, oh, maybe I should be doing more.
Right.
Maybe
right.
I should.
Maybe
I should
I'm
get on that.
Maybe I'm the only one who's thinking this way, and it's not healthy. Yeah. So it is good to talk about it. All right. One more thing I wanted to say about this is what happens when we do less is that, or when we have that mindset that we are going to do less, then the important things rise to the surface. The most important things rise to the surface.
Yep.
And you kind of appreciate and value those things more as being your top things.
And those things are going to look different for everybody.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
What sparks joy for you is going to be different than what sparks joy for someone else.
For sure. And I feel like when I look at my day, if I've done those top things, then I can feel successful. It's not if I've done these 10 things.
Right.
It's more like if we've done these 3 things.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I love that. And I just think of all the good things there are to do in homeschool. Yeah. There's just an infinite amount of good things to do every single day.
Yeah.
So why not pick your 3 favorite?
Yeah.
They're all good.
They're all good.
They're all good.
Yeah. And you don't want the watered down version of 10 things. You know?
Yuck.
Yeah. All right. So we wanted to do a little what we don't do again, homeschool version, because this is something we've talked about lots on this podcast, and we thought it would be a perfect episode to revisit some things that we don't do, so you can hear about how we are actually really doing less.
And we have a few previous episodes where we do a whole episode of what we don't do.
Right.
And
we can link to those in the show notes.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I think also, like, when we talk theoretically about this stuff, like you and I just had a conversation about it, I think that's helpful and good. But I think a lot of people want to know, okay, but really, what aren't you doing? Or what are you doing? Like, I need examples.
Yes.
Because I think, like maybe I have a different idea of what doing less means than somebody else. So it is good to talk about specifics.
And also, it's good to talk about specifics and just know that's probably not going to be what you're going to do.
Oh, for sure. These are just like my examples.
Yes.
And you got to figure out what works for you.
Yep. Yep.
Yes. All right. So,
Okay.
Maren.
Yep.
What don't you do?
Okay, I'll start.
All right.
I don't stick to a curriculum.
Okay.
I just don't. I have tried out some curricula.
Yeah.
Is that how you say it? But I'm not a curriculum person.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just not.
Yep.
I don't like to I feel very tied down to something. I don't feel free to learn, really.
Yeah.
And I don't think that that's what everybody should do.
Yeah.
Because I think sometimes that's really good for people. And I've heard so many people say that is just what that actually is a great like tent pole for me. That's something we can rely on every day, and I think that's so great. But for me, I have a real hard time time with that. And I think it has a lot to do with my kids too, and what they need academically,
right?
Too. So
if you're not using, when you say you don't stick to one, you use sometimes
yep.
here and there for seasons.
Yes.
Okay.
And I always ask myself, and this might go back to Marie Kondo, does it spark joy? But I ask myself, is it working for us instead of the other way around? I don't ever want to be working for the curriculum.
Right.
I want the curriculum to be working for us.
Yeah.
So if I just feel like I'm doing this to finish the book or whatever, I can't do that. I can't do it. So we have curriculum going on right now. It's not going to last forever.
Yeah.
This is a season for a few things that we're using.
Right.
Yeah. So
I think that is going to be so freeing for some people because, and myself too, I can fall into the trap of thinking, well, if I don't finish this, then they're missing this huge part of, I don't know, stuff they're supposed to learn.
It's true.
Yeah.
But I also think right now they're not really learning it anyway. When it gets to the point where we're just doing it to do it, and they're actually, it's not really like sticking.
Yeah.
It's like, why are we doing
If you're just doing it to finish the book, then it's not, then you shouldn't be doing it because you're just doing it to finish the book. Yeah. Yeah.
It's not effective for us. So anyway, how about you, Angela?
Okay.
What don't you do?
All right. So I don't sweat most school subjects before high school. With the exception of reading and math, I don't sweat any subject. Like I don't worry about if my kids are getting certain academic subjects like before high school.
Right.
Except for reading and math.
Yeah.
Would you agree? Like, does that sound out there?
Yeah. No, I think that's great.
You do?
Well, I do think, I think that's great.
See, and I need reassurance. Is this okay that I just said that?
Well, I do want to say, though, I want to give you credit for like all the stuff you are doing. That's not exactly, I mean, it's like, I feel like you and I both do a lot of science, but it's not because we're directly teaching science. It's like we're going out and exploring things.
Yeah.
Like we're doing that kind of
learning. I mean, lots of learning is happening. Me saying that doesn't mean that we're not doing things. We're doing lots of things.
Yeah. Learning so much.
We're learning a lot. The kids are learning a lot. But I guess what I'm saying is when I think about subjects like that you might learn in school, like social studies, science, art.
Yeah.
all the other ones, all the things besides reading and math,
And there are so many.
Yeah. I am not going to sweat it. I'm not going to sweat those.
Right.
Until high school.
You don't say, oh my goodness, we haven't done science this week. We got to get on this.
This year. Yeah.
or this year, whatever.
Yeah. And I have to say, like, I'm a science teacher. That's my license.
Yeah,
I'm a licensed science teacher.
Yeah.
I really value science. I really value social studies. And I value it so much that I don't want to do a curriculum that my kids might hate.
Yep.
Like, I want them to love science so much that I don't want to force it on them. I want them to just explore it on their own. Does that make sense?
That is so powerful, I think, because you are a science teacher.
Well, I think 99% of science teachers would disagree with me. Probably. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, I think they're really into their content, and that's great.
Right.
That's great.
Yep.
But I feel like I'm seeing my kids explore the world in a scientific way, on their own, that is more valuable than a curriculum could provide or something that I could guide them through.
Right.
And we've done seasons of, like, we took a co-op class where they dissected some stuff, which was awesome. And they had a teacher, and that was so great. And that was like for a little season, they did like 10 classes or whatever. So we've done stuff like that. We do nature walks. We get some science kits in the mail. I think those are all great. And I love that they're exploring, but I just feel like until you get to high school, like, I'm just not that into,
enough.
I'm just not that into curriculum. Like, I don't want to give them like a science or social studies curriculum.
Yeah, and that kind of learning, the learning that what you were just describing that's enough. That was enough. That's enough learning.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all enough of giving them something to learn.
Yeah.
A lot of it they just take on their own at that point.
Right. Well, like, I'm just afraid. I guess I'm afraid that if I stick a curriculum on them or force some stuff, that will, like, snuff out their joy of learning science.
Right.
Yeah. So
that's so good.
And I feel the same about social studies. I read aloud a little bit of history. I'm talking like a teeny bit, once or twice a week, and that's all we do for social studies. And so far they love it.
Yeah,
they're into it, and so I hope when they get to high school, that maybe that's when some deeper stuff can happen, and maybe they'll be so, like, sparked by what happened, what the little bit they got, that they'll want to learn more when they get to high school.
Yes.
I don't know.
Well, I think that's
I don't
the
know
way
if
to do
that's
it.
right. I don't know if that's right.
Spark joy, spark curiosity.
Yeah,
really.
right.
I think is a big part of it for kids.
Yeah.
Spark the curiosity, and then they can go deeper.
Yeah.
I think that's great. Another thing I don't do is I don't sign up my kids for classes.
Yeah. Okay.
For the most part. I mean, every once in a while maybe, but like, and this has a lot to do with my personality and my kids' personalities, but like, signing up for a class where we have to be there at a certain time at a certain place and, get homework and do the specific things and bring it back is just, I mean, I think it's great if it works for you. For right now where we are, that doesn't work for us. What I love to do is I like to have memberships to places where we decide when we want to go there and what we get out of it.
Yeah.
So that works for us right now. And, as you're talking about high school, I can see that possibly changing.
Yeah.
Like them needing a little more, I need you to do this and then get it done by this date.
Yeah.
That is, I think that's like a natural progression. Definitely, especially for my kids, I can see that happening. But right now, we like to just go explore and do it on a day that works best for us, a time that works best for us, and, and just have a little more fluidity in that.
Yeah, there's freedom. There's freedom in doing it when you want to do it and not when someone else tells you to be there for a class.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that works better for us.
Yeah.
Do you do that or?
Well, no. My oldest is taking an algebra class this year at a co-op, and she really likes that. And that was hard for me. That was kind of our, one of our first, really big commitments. It was an all year commitment.
Wow. Wow.
But she really wanted to do it. She was super interested in it. And I thought, this is great. She's wanting to do this. It's, she's curious about algebra, and it has been really a good choice for us. So
awesome.
I feel like if I had pushed that too soon, that it might have been different.
Sure. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do try those things out every once in a while and see how they work, but we've never done that big of a commitment either.
Yeah. So. Yeah. I think that's going to be probably our life from now, like moving forward, we're going to, my kids are getting older, my kids are 13, 12, and 10. And so I know that the season is coming for more outside classes and commitments. So
yes. Yep, it's happening. And that's okay, because that's, if that's what's sparking joy for them, or what's sparking their, interest. And I think we have to listen to that too.
Yeah, for sure.
So good.
For sure.
So anyway, what else? Anything else you don't do?
I don't. Okay, this is new this year. I don't do chores. I don't make my kids do chores on a schedule.
Yeah.
Chores are really important around our house. And so it feels a little weird to say that, but it was really kind of dragging us down because my kids were dragging their feet doing chores.
Right.
And so I felt like it was taking up our whole morning.
Yeah.
Doing chores, because I had made it a priority and we were, set out to do that right away.
Sure.
But this year I changed things up and I just said, I'm not going to make anybody do chores like every morning or even like on a weekly basis. It's just going to be whenever it needs to be done, we're doing it.
Sure.
And so a lot of times that's evenings and weekends.
Mm-hmm.
And then my husband's home. And so he can help with the motivation.
Right. And he's kind of more into that.
He's really into that. So I was like, well, he can take the lead there.
Sure.
And then also, like, if it's during the day and the kitchen's a mess, I'll just be like, everybody, I need everybody's help in the kitchen.
Yes.
We got to clean this up. Let's do this, this, and this, or whatever. And that's working. Like, people are doing it.
Yeah.
And I've noticed my kids, well, 2 of them, not 3 of them, 2 of them, don't like a mess. And so they'll be like, I feel, what's the word they're using? Like, I feel cluttered, or I feel like depressed. One of my kids will say, I feel depressed. The kitchen is a mess. And I'm like, yeah, I know. What do you think we should do about that?
What should we do?
Yeah. So I feel like this method is working, where the old method of like having chores every day was kind of dragging me down. So
that's so great.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah. Anything else for you that you don't do?
Yes. Quickly, I will just say the last one I just thought about was, I don't really set specific academic goals for my kids every year.
Yeah.
Good. I don't say you need to get at this level by the end of the year, because I just don't know. I feel like it is not really the best way to learn.
Right. Yeah.
And I think goals are really good. Goals are really good. I just want to set my kids up for some success, and I want to make sure that it's gonna happen. And if I do set goals, that it's really gonna happen, and it's gonna be an exciting experience or good experience for them, and not just like continuously drag on. Be like, I'm never gonna get there, or this is not even fun. Why is this one of my goals?
Right.
I don't enjoy this. So we work, or sometimes we do shorter goals. We'll do short. Let's try and get through these couple lessons this week or something, and that seems to work better for my kids.
Yeah. Good. I haven't really done that either, but I have noticed as my kids have gotten older that they've wanted to set their own goals.
Yeah. And that is when it should happen.
Yeah, right. Right.
Yes.
I didn't really put that together till just now. Yeah.
That's like best case scenario.
Right.
So awesome.
Right.
Yeah, way to go.
Okay, my last one quickly, and I feel really bad about this, so I'm kind of hanging my head in shame, and I shouldn't, but I don't do any art because I'm not good at it. And I felt guilty about that for years. And actually, I don't feel guilty about it anymore, but I feel bad saying it on the podcast. Because I don't.
No shame here.
There's no shame. Important. I know art is important. I know it's super important. And I have an art cart, and I have lots of good art supplies. And sometimes I drag it out, and that sometimes works. But I don't facilitate anything.
Yeah.
Sometimes I sign them up for a class every once in a while, like some kind of class, and they do awesome there. But it was dragging me down, like the guilt of not knowing what I'm doing or how to do it well or effectively. And I just kind of let that go. And I just thought, well, good for you. That's one thing that they're not going to get from me.
Well, I think that's totally fine, because you have supplies, first of all. I think that's a big part of it. I don't do art. I'll tell you, I love art. I don't do art. Okay. I supply things for art. I make time for art.
Yeah, I don't do that.
Oh, yeah. Well, you have time for playing and, like time for, you have free time and that's, that's always an option.
They could do it then.
So, yeah. And so, I mean, a lot of it is if they're not choosing it, maybe that's not their thing either.
Right. Well, one of my kids does, and she does her own stuff all the time.
Yeah. Great.
And that's all. So
well, great. Then the other kids maybe just don't need it as much either.
Yeah. Or maybe someday they'll take a class and be inspired.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
All right. Well, that was a great conversation.
Yes.
I feel
I would love to hear what everyone else is doing to Marie Kondo their homeschool.
Oh yeah. We should put that question in our Facebook group.
Yes, definitely.
Maybe it can be a catharsis.
I think it
we
should
can
be.
all talk about it.
Oh yes.
Okay. Let's move on to loving this week.
Yep. Angela, what are you loving this week?
Okay, I am loving a podcast.
Good.
It's a binge-worthy podcast.
Okay.
It's called Believed. Have you heard of it?
Ooh,
no. From NPR. It is about the Larry Nassar scandal. He was the gymnastics personal trainer. He was a personal trainer for all the gymnastics girls, some Olympic gymnasts, and he was charged with sexual assault. And it's about that whole case, which I knew a little bit about, because it was in the news and I knew some stuff.
Yep.
But this is probably, I'm going to say 7 or 8 episodes long.
Okay.
And it goes into a few of the victims' personal stories.
Wow.
And why he did this for years. I mean, like many years. And why it was so hard to catch him, or like why it was so hard to believe these girls that that's what he was doing.
Right.
And like a lot of parents feel guilt about this because they, trusted him. So it's about him like in his process of gaining everybody's trust and why they were all fooled. And I just think it was so good for me to listen to as a parent of kids.
Yeah.
I'm just examining my own trust that we place in adults. And it's just it was just really fascinating. And so like some of the parts are hard to hear. So if you're sensitive, it might be hard, but more than that, it was just like, also I felt so like proud of these girls who were so brave. And I just thought it was, that part of it was so amazing.
Did they go into, who was the most famous gymnast?
They didn't do that. They didn't go into that. They went into like, probably like, I don't know, 5 different victims and their stories.
Yeah.
One of the girls was not a gymnast. It was a family friend, and her story was the one that got them to believe that he was a pedophile, because he used to like explain his behaviors as being like techniques or things that he had to do as a physical therapist. But she wasn't a gymnast, and she was, just like a family friend. And so she's the one, her story got people to really believe everything,
Yeah.
So yeah. And then it went into the trial, and I didn't realize, I mean, I had heard about the trial, and I knew some victims were able to make statements and confront him, but I didn't know like there were 200 victims who like gave statements and were facing him. And I was just like, that is really amazing. It is. So, and it
went on that long.
Yeah. I binged this when it was cold. Each episode is like 30 minutes long. So even though there's
doable.
It's like a 3-hour commitment.
Yeah.
So it was really good. How about you? What is your loving this week?
All right. I am loving a new toothbrush.
Oh.
I know. Super exciting news. Got a new toothbrush. Actually got one for Sean and one for me for Christmas. Put them in our stockings.
Yep.
We love them so much.
All right. What is it called?
It's called Quip.
Oh.
And it's kind of it's just an online business, Quip.
Okay.
And so you order your toothbrush and then you sign up for a subscription to get a new head on your toothbrush. It's an electric toothbrush and they just come every 3 months, the new head, which I am loving. This is what I love. Subscription service for things I don't want to think about.
Yeah.
Like replacing my toothbrush.
Yeah.
And it's a small toothbrush. It's not like those, most electric toothbrushes are like really big and bulky. And this just looks so slim and like sleek, and it's just cool looking.
Yeah.
And it has a holder that you can put on your mirror or wall, and you just slide it in there. So it's super easy to start. And then you can take off the holder easily and use it as a cover when you travel.
Oh.
So that's awesome. And then also it has just batteries, so you don't recharge it, which is, I kind of like that too, because it's just...
You don't need a cord.
You don't need anything else, which I'm loving, because I actually just told Sean yesterday, I am at my max for things I need to recharge in this house.
Yeah.
Like I can't recharge one more thing. No more. Yeah. No more pieces of equipment can come into this house. So anyway, I love it. It's and then they have all these different colors, and so we're gonna probably end up getting them for our whole family. Yeah. Oh, and also my favorite part, I didn't even say this, but I'm sure many of you with really nice fancy toothbrushes, this already happens, but every 30 seconds it kind of pulses. Yeah. So you know when to switch quadrants of your mouth.
Handy.
At first I didn't like that because I wasn't used to brushing my teeth for 2 full minutes. Really, to be honest. I never really timed myself, and I thought I was, but apparently I wasn't. So I didn't like that. But now I don't want to brush my teeth without that now.
Yeah. That's
so
awesome.
Yeah.
That is great. I should have talked to you because I got my kids their first electric toothbrushes. We haven't had any ever. Because I didn't want to keep anything charging on the counter. I was like, we can use an old-fashioned toothbrush. But we got them for Christmas, and they're kind of, I like what you're talking about, how they send you the head. Because I was thinking, I'm going to have to remember to buy those heads. And they only had 2 choices for colors, and I have 3 kids. And I was like,
come on, guys.
Okay. Is this going to work?
I know. It's going to be a long conversation, right? I just feel like with colors, it's always going to be an issue. There's always issues.
Yeah. So I wish I would have talked to you. But you have to go to their website and order from them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. So that was another Instagram advertisement that I feel like, wow, Instagram, you know me.
Yeah.
A little too well. But I'll take it.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you everybody for listening. If you would like to follow us on social media, we are on Facebook and Instagram at Homeschool Unrefined. We have a website, homeschoolunrefined.com, where you can find links to our show notes and everything that we talked about this week.
Yep. And you can sign up for our newsletter there too.
Yeah. We're sending one out soon. It might be out. Well, I don't know. We're sending it out soon. So get your name on the list if you haven't.
It's not going to be long or annoying.
Oh, no.
The newsletters.
For sure. Short.
Fun and, yes.
Short and fun and infrequent.
And we're not sending... Infrequent. Yes. We're not sending them out all the time. So.
Yeah. They're going to be worth your time to open.
Definitely.
So, yep. And we'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening.
Homeschool Unrefined is created and produced by Maren and Angela Sizer. Ethan Miller is our editor, and Amanda Ginn is our VP of all the important things.